Taeho wiped sweat from his forehead as he squinted through the binoculars. The sea was rough today, waves crashing against the cliffs below the Marine Research Station. The storm had blown in faster than expected, and rain pelted the observation. Deck windows. Most of the research team had gone to the mainland for supplies, leaving Taeho alone to monitor the waters. Strange, he muttered, adjusting the focus. Something moved in the churning waters, something that shouldn't be there. Too big for a seal, too sleek for driftwood. When lightning flashed, he caught a glimpse of spotted fur. A leopard? Here. Taeho blinked in disbelief. The nearest zoo was hundreds of miles away. Whatever it was, the animal was struggling against the fierce current, its head barely staying above water. Without hesitation, Taeho grabbed the emergency pack and raced down the metal stairs to the dock. The small rescue boat bounced wildly as he untied it. His colleagues would call him crazy for heading out in this weather, but he couldn't watch an animal drown. The engine roared to life, and Taeho steered into the storm. Rain stung his face. As waves crashed over the bow, drenching him, the boat lurched as he fought to maintain control. 20 years of experience on these waters gave him confidence, but the storm tested his limits. Through the driving rain, he spotted the animal again. It was indeed leopard-like, with distinctive spots, but something was off about its shape. Maybe an escaped exotic pet. Whatever it was losing the battle against the sea. Taeho maneuvered closer, careful not to hit the animal with the boat. "Hold on," he called, though he knew the creature couldn't understand. He cut the engine and grabbed the rescue net. The animal thrashed as Taeho leaned over the side. A wave slammed into the boat, nearly tipping it. For a moment, Taeho thought he would join the creature in the water. Steadying himself, he reached again with the net. Finally, he caught the animal and pulled. It was surprisingly heavy, and it took all his strength to haul it aboard. As it landed on the deck, Taeho gasped. This was no ordinary leopard. The creature had 6 legs, not 4. Its fur seemed to glow with faint blue spots that pulsed like tiny heartbeats. Most shocking of all, where its front paws should be, there were appendages that looked almost like hands. The animal's eyes met Taeho's, intelligent eyes that seemed to study him. They were not the eyes of a wild beast, but held a spark of something Taeho had never seen in any earth animal. "What are you?" he whispered. The creature made a soft clicking sound, then collapsed from exhaustion. Taeho wrapped it in emergency blankets and turned the boat back toward the station, his mind racing. Whatever this was, it had no business being in Earth's oceans. Back at the station, Taeho carried the creature to the medical bay. Its breathing was shallow but steady. The blue glow from its spotted coat cast eerie shadows on the walls. He took basic readings, pulse, respiration, temperature, but the equipment gave strange results. The creature's body temperature was far too high for a mammal, and its heartbeat pattern was unlike anything in the station's database. Taeho tried calling his supervisor, but the storm had knocked out communications. He was on his own until the weather cleared. As Taeho recorded his observations, the creature's eyes snapped open. It looked around the room, taking in the equipment and lights. Then, with surprising speed, it jumped up and backed into a corner. Its posture wasn't threatening. Rather, it seemed curious and cautious. "It's okay," Taeho said softly. "You're safe now." The creature tilted its head, studying him. Then it did something that made Taeho's blood run cold. It reached up with one of its hand-like front appendages and touched the digital display on the medical equipment. Its claw tips moved across the screen with purpose, not random tapping. Taeho backed away slowly, his mouth dry. This was no animal. This was something else entirely. When he returned an hour later with food and water, the medical bay was empty. Taeho looked around in confusion. He had locked the door. Then he heard a soft humming sound from the main laboratory. Heart pounding, he walked down the hall and peered through the doorway. The leopard-like creature was standing on its hind legs at the main computer terminal. Its front appendages moved with incredible speed across the keyboard, the screen filled with strange symbols that Taeho had never seen before. The creature turned and looked at him. Then it spoke, not in animal sounds, but in clear, precise tones unlike any language Taeho had ever heard. Taeho realized with growing shock that he hadn't rescued an animal today. He had rescued something from beyond Earth, and it was trying to communicate. 3 days passed before the leopard-like creature spoke in a language Tae-ho could understand. He had moved it to a comfortable room, bringing food and water regularly. The creature watched him with those intelligent eyes, sometimes making clicking sounds or touching the various objects he brought. On the morning of the 4th day, Tae-ho entered with a tray of fruits and fish. The creature sat upright on its hind legs, its spotted coat glowing softly in the dim light. "Thank you for saving my life," it said in perfect, though strangely accented Korean. Tae-ho dropped the tray. Apples rolled across the floor. You can speak?" "Yes. I learned your language by accessing your computer systems. My name is Nari." Tae-ho backed up against the wall. "What are you?" "I am what you might call an explorer. My people are from a place you call Tau Ceti. We are part of the Stellar Collective." Tae-ho's scientific training kicked in despite his shock. He pulled out a chair and sat down, keeping some distance between them. "You're an alien." Nari's spots pulsed brighter. "That term is correct from your perspective. We have been observing Earth for many decades. My ship was damaged in your atmosphere during a routine survey mission." "There are more of you?" Tae-ho asked, his mind racing with the implications. "Yes, a rescue team will come, but not for several weeks. Our nearest outpost is far from your solar system." Tae-ho ran his hand through his hair. "Why haven't your people made contact with humans before now?" Nari's expression changed, the fur around its face flattening. "We find humans interesting but unpredictable. Your species shows great capacity for both kindness and cruelty. Some among us believe humans are too dangerous to approach. Yet, here you are. Not by choice." Nari stepped closer to Tae-ho. Its movement was graceful despite its unusual body structure. "My ship crashed in your ocean. Important technology was lost in the wreckage. I need to recover it before your authorities find it." "What kind of technology?" "A data core containing information about Earth and other worlds. In the wrong hands, it could be dangerous. It also contains my personal records and research." Tae-ho thought about his options. His colleagues would return from the mainland soon. Should he tell them? Contact the government? His thoughts turned to how scientists and military officials might treat a being like Nari, with tests, confinement, perhaps even dissection. "Your thoughts are easy to read," Nari said softly. "You worry about what your people would do to me. Wouldn't you? Humans don't have the best history of dealing with things we don't understand. This is why the Stellar Collective has chosen observation over direct contact." Nari extended one of its hand-like appendages. "But you saved me when you thought I was just an animal in distress. That action speaks to the better nature of humans." Tae-ho looked at the alien hand hovering in front of him. After a moment's hesitation, he reached out and took it. The fur was soft and warm. "I'll help you recover your technology," he said, "but I have questions, many questions. As do I about your world." Over the next 2 days, Tae-ho learned more about Nari's people. They were a spacefaring civilization with a complex social structure built around shared knowledge. Their technology was centuries beyond Earth's. Nari explained that the Stellar Collective had been monitoring humanity's development for generations. "We watch many emerging civilizations," Nari said as they planned their underwater recovery mission. "Yours is unique in many ways." "How so?" Tae-ho asked, marking coordinates on a map. "Most species advance technologically at a fairly predictable rate. Humans move faster, especially in times of conflict, but you are also more divided than most, and more emotional. Is that bad? Different. Not bad. Your emotions drive both your greatest achievements and your worst atrocities." On the 3rd night, as they prepared the diving equipment for the next day's mission, Tae-ho's satellite phone rang. His research team would return the following afternoon. "We need to move quickly," Tae-ho said, hanging up. "Can you operate underwater?" "Better than you. My species evolved in an aquatic environment before adapting to land." Tae-ho nodded. "Then we leave at dawn. If we don't recover your technology before my colleagues return, everything gets more complicated." That night, Tae-ho lay awake thinking about what would happen after they recovered Nari's data core. Would the alien simply wait for rescue and disappear? Would Earth ever know about the stellar collective, and what would they think of humans based on his actions? Little did he know that their underwater mission would reveal far more than just alien technology. The truth about humanity's place in the galaxy was hidden beneath those dark waters, a truth that would change everything Tai-Ho believed about his world and himself. Remember to cite any information from search results using the following format for claims. Text being cited, use the minimum number of sentences necessary to support each claim. If a claim is supported by multiple sentences, use .text being cited. If a claim is supported by multiple sections, use a comma-separated list, text being cited. Morning sky was still dark when Tai-Ho and Nari loaded equipment onto the small research boat. A light fog hung over the water, hiding them from curious eyes. Tai-Ho checked his diving gear one last time. The crash site is about 3 kilometers offshore, he said, pointing to a spot on his digital map. Water depth is 40 meters there. Nari's spots glowed blue in the dim light. My ship's emergency beacon will guide us closer. I can sense it. Tai-Ho started the boat's engine and they set off across the calm sea. The storm had passed, leaving behind perfect conditions for their mission. As they moved farther from shore, Nari stood at the bow, eyes closed, body swaying slightly. "Turn left here," Nari said suddenly. "The signal is stronger in this direction." Tai-Ho adjusted course, watching Nari with fascination. The alien looked almost like it was dancing, following some music only it could hear. "Stop!" Nari commanded. "We're above it now." Tai-Ho cut the engine and dropped anchor. The boat drifted gently on the small waves. He began putting on his wetsuit, while Nari simply walked to the edge of the boat. "Wait," Tai-Ho said. "Don't you need diving equipment?" Nari's mouth curved into what might have been a smile. "My body can filter oxygen from water. I told you we evolved from aquatic ancestors." Without another word, Nari stepped off the boat and slipped into the water with barely a splash. Tai-Ho hurried to put on his mask, tank, and fins. By the time he was ready, Nari was nowhere to be seen. Tai-Ho jumped in and followed the line from the boat down into the depths. The water grew darker as he descended. He switched on his underwater light, sweeping it back and forth. Fish scattered from the sudden brightness. 40 meters down, Tai-Ho found Nari waiting beside a strange object, half buried in the sandy bottom. It was sleek and silver, about the size of a small car with no visible windows or doors. Parts of it glowed with the same blue light as Nari's spots. Nari pointed to a crack along one side of the craft. The alien's spots flashed rapidly, communicating distress. Through the crack, Tai-Ho could see complex machinery unlike anything on Earth. They swam closer. Nari touched a panel on the ship's surface and a compartment opened. Inside was a small cylinder, glowing with intense blue light. The data core, Tai-Ho thought, remembering their earlier conversation. As Nari reached for it, the sand beneath the ship suddenly shifted. A large shape moved in the darkness beyond Tai-Ho's light. His heart pounded as he turned to see a massive shark circling them, its dead eyes fixed on Nari. Tai-Ho grabbed Nari's arm and pointed at the danger. The alien nodded, but continued working to free the cylinder. The shark drew closer, apparently attracted to the blue glow of the ship and Nari's spots. As the shark charged, Tai-Ho did the only thing he could think of. He put himself between the predator and Nari. He waved his light frantically, trying to confuse the animal. The shark veered away at the last second, but its rough skin scraped Tai-Ho's leg as it passed. Pain shot through him. Red blood clouded the water. Nari's spots flashed wildly. The alien pressed a device on its wrist, and a pulse of blue energy spread outward. The shark and all the fish around them suddenly turned and swam away, as if fleeing from danger. Nari finally freed the cylinder and tucked it into a pouch on its body. Then the alien turned to Tai-Ho, examining his injured leg. Blood continued to seep from the wound. Tai-Ho checked his air gauge, still enough to reach the surface, but not much extra. He gestured upward. Nari nodded and they began to ascend. Halfway to the surface, Tai-Ho noticed something large moving above them. Not another shark. This was metal. A boat, much bigger than his small research vessel. Government research vessel, Tai-Ho realized, with alarm. He recognized the shape. They must have detected the energy from Nari's ship. He grabbed Nari and pointed toward a rocky outcropping nearby. They changed direction, swimming close to the bottom, using the rocks for cover. Taiho's leg throbbed, and he was leaving a trail of blood in the water. They reached his boat just as Taiho's air supply began to run low. The government vessel was half a kilometer away, moving slowly in a search pattern. Taiho helped Nari. Aboard then climbed up himself, wincing at the pain in his leg. "We need to leave now," he whispered, starting the engine. "Wait," Nari said, reaching into the pouch. "Your injury needs treatment." The alien took out a small object that looked like a smooth pebble. Nari pressed it against Taiho's wound. A cool sensation spread through his leg, and the bleeding stopped instantly. "Amazing," Taiho said, examining the now closed wound. "A simple medical tool," Nari replied. "Now let's go before they find us." Taiho steered the boat toward shore, taking a route that kept them hidden behind small islands. The government vessel continued its search pattern, moving away from them. Back at the research station, Taiho helped Nari hide the alien data core. They had succeeded in their mission, but Taiho couldn't shake the feeling that their troubles were just beginning. His team would return in a few hours, and the government ship had surely detected something unusual underwater. "What will your data show?" Taiho asked as they hid the cylinder beneath floorboards in his quarters. Nari's spots pulsed slowly now. "The truth about your world, and mine, and why our meeting may be more important than either of us realized." Taiho's research team returned just before sunset. He greeted them at the dock, careful to act normal despite everything that had happened. Nari was hidden in his private quarters, examining the recovered data core. "The storm was terrible," Jinwoo, his assistant, said while unloading supplies. "How did you manage alone?" "Just fine," Taiho replied, helping with the boxes. Nothing unusual to report. As night fell, Taiho brought food to Nari. The alien sat cross-legged on the floor, the data core floating in the air before it, surrounded by holographic displays that shimmered with strange symbols. "Is it damaged?" Taiho asked, setting down the tray. "No, but what I've found is troubling." Nari's spots pulsed with a new color, deep red. "What is it?" Nari gestured, and the holograms changed to show images of Earth, continents, oceans, and then ancient ruins buried beneath ice and jungle. "Your people believe they are the first advanced civilization on this planet. They are wrong." Taiho sat down, his legs suddenly weak. "What do you mean?" "Humans have risen and fallen many times, Taiho. At least 7 advanced human civilizations existed before your current one. Each reached great technological heights, each destroyed itself. That's impossible. Where's the evidence? Deep beneath your oceans, under the ice caps, in places your archaeologists haven't explored." Nari pointed to the images. "These ruins are over 20,000 years old. The people who built them could travel between stars." Taiho shook his head in disbelief. "If that's true, why don't we remember? Why isn't this in our history?" "Because the survivors of each collapse returned to primitive ways. Knowledge was lost. Stories became myths." Nari's voice softened. "Your myths about lost continents like Atlantis, they contain fragments of truth." The hologram shifted to show an image of humans standing alongside aliens of different forms. "Long ago, humans were part of the stellar collective. They were respected, even feared by some. Your combination of intelligence, adaptability, and compassion made you unique among spacefaring species." Taiho stared at the image, trying to process this impossible information. What happened? War. A terrible war with a species that has since vanished from the galaxy. Humans fought bravely, but Earth was cut off from the collective. Your civilization collapsed. Survivors rebuilt, forgot, and eventually destroyed themselves again through environmental collapse, nuclear war, or engineered diseases. The cycle has repeated for over 50,000 years. A knock at the door startled them both. Nari quickly shut down the hologram as Taiho moved to answer. Jinwoo stood in the hallway, looking concerned. "Taiho, there are government officials here. They want to speak with you about unusual energy readings detected offshore." Taiho's heart raced. "Tell them I'll be right there." After Jinwoo left, Taiho turned to Nari. "You need to hide. I'll handle this." "It's too late," Nari said. "They've detected my ship's energy signature. They'll search the station." Then, we need to leave, now. Tai-Ho gathered emergency supplies while Nari packed the data core. They slipped out through a back door just as voices echoed from the main lab. Outside, the night was clear and cold. Tai-Ho led Nari away from the station, toward a series of sea caves he had explored years ago. The caves connected to an underground river system that would hide them from thermal imaging. As they hiked along the rocky shoreline, a spotlight suddenly swept over them. A helicopter appeared over the ridge, its searchlight cutting through the darkness. "Run!" Tai-Ho shouted. They sprinted toward the cave entrance just 50 meters ahead. The helicopter swooped lower, the light following their movement. "Voices!" shouted behind them as government agents poured out of the research station. Tai-Ho and Nari reached the cave entrance and plunged inside. The darkness swallowed them as they navigated through the narrow passages, guided only by the glow of Nari's spots. Deep in the cave system, they found a small chamber with a pool of fresh water. Tai-Ho collapsed against the wall, breathing hard. "They'll find us eventually," he said between breaths. "Perhaps, but we have time." Nari opened the data core again. "There's more you need to know." The hologram appeared once more, this time showing a map of DNA sequences. "Your DNA, Tai-Ho. I scanned it while treating your leg injury." Nari's spots pulsed with excitement. "You carry genetic markers from the ancient humans who traveled among stars, rare mutations that appear in less than 1% of your population." "What does that mean?" "It means you can activate technology from that era, technology that still exists hidden beneath this very landmass." Nari pointed to a specific location on a map of the region. "A ship, buried for 20,000 years, still functional." Tai-Ho stared at the map, then at his own hands. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because the Stellar Collective didn't send me here by accident. Your people stand at a crossroads. Once again, you have developed technology that could destroy your world. But you could also rejoin the stars." Nari's eyes met Tai-Ho's. "I was sent to find someone like you, someone who could help restart the cycle, but this time with a different ending." For 3 days, Tai-Ho and Nari hid in the cave system. They moved deeper into the network of tunnels whenever they heard search teams above. The government was looking everywhere for them. On the 4th day, they reached the location Nari had identified. It seemed like an ordinary cave wall, but when Tai-Ho touched it, blue lines of light spread from his fingertips across the stone surface. "It recognizes your genetic signature," Nari said, spots glowing with excitement. The wall slid open, revealing a chamber that had been sealed for 20,000 years. Inside was a ship unlike anything Tai-Ho had imagined. It was sleek and beautiful, with flowing lines that reminded him of ocean waves. Despite its age, it looked new. "How is this possible?" Tai-Ho whispered, running his hand along the smooth surface. "Stellar Collective technology is made to last," Nari replied. "This ship has been in hibernation mode, waiting for someone with the right genetic key." Tai-Ho placed his palm on what appeared to be a door. It opened silently, revealing a cockpit filled with controls that glowed softly in response to his presence. "Can I really fly this?" "The ship will connect to your mind. It will feel natural, like an extension of your body." As Tai-Ho stepped inside, the ship came fully to life. Displays appeared in the air around him, showing maps of Earth, the solar system, and beyond. He felt a gentle presence touch his thoughts, the ship's intelligence awakening after thousands of years. "Nari, this is amazing, but I don't understand. Why now? Why me?" Nari sat beside him, the spots on the alien's body pulsing slowly. "The truth is, our meeting was not accident. When you saved me from drowning, you weren't just saving an alien visitor. You were determining the fate of your species." "What do you mean?" "The Stellar Collective has been debating what to do about Earth for centuries. Your people are close to developing faster-than-light travel again, but you're also close to another self-destruction. Some in the Collective wanted to prevent humans from reaching the stars again. They fear your violent tendencies. Others saw your potential for compassion and creativity." "So I was some kind of test?" "Yes. The Collective decided to send me as a final evaluation. If I was discovered and treated as a threat, they would intervene to limit Earth's technological progress. If I was ignored when in danger, that would also be a failure for humanity. But I helped you. Yes, You risked your life to save what you thought was just an animal. You showed the best quality of humans, compassion that extends beyond your own kind. That one action convinced the collective that humans deserve another chance among the stars. The ground suddenly shook. Dust fell from the cave ceiling as rumbling sounds echoed through the tunnels. They're using explosives to search. The caves, Tejo said. We don't have much time. We don't need much time. Nari touched a control panel, and the ship's engines hummed to life. The collective fleet is already here in orbit around your planet. They've been waiting for my signal. A fleet? They'll cause panic. Not if humanity has a representative. To explain, someone who understands both worlds, Tejo realized what Nari meant. Me? I'm just a marine biologist. You're more than that. You're proof that humanity still has its core qualities intact. Nari's spots glowed with a warm golden light. The cycle can be broken, Tejo. Humans can rejoin the stars not as conquerors, but as explorers and creators. The ship rose gently from its ancient resting place. The cave ceiling above them opened like flower petals, revealing the night sky. Government helicopters circled in the distance, their searchlights cutting through the darkness. What happens now? Tejo asked, feeling the ship respond to his thoughts as it climbed higher. Now we meet the fleet. You will speak for Earth. The collective will reveal itself openly to your world, offering guidance but not control. It will be difficult. Some will resist. But this is how the cycle finally changes. As they broke through the clouds, Tejo gasped. Above them, the night sky was filled with ships of all shapes and sizes. They glowed like stars, forming patterns across the darkness. Your ancestors called that formation the Bridge of Souls, Nari said, pointing to a line of ships. They believed it led to humanity's true home. The radio in the ship crackled with urgent messages from Earth, military commands, news stations, government officials, all reporting unidentified objects. In the sky, the world was waking up to a new reality. They're afraid, Tejo said. Fear is natural with change, but so is hope. Nari handed him the communication device. It's time for you to speak, Tejo. Tell them who we are. Tell them who they once were. Tell them what they can become again. Tejo took a deep breath and activated the transmitter. His voice would reach every communication device on Earth. People of Earth, he began. My name is Tejo Kim. I have an important message about our past and our future. We are not alone in the universe. In fact, we never were.